Just this morning, we've learned that the Labour mayor in London believes, and I quote, that there is an equivalence between the brutal terrorist attack of Hamas and Israel defending itself.
So clearly, of course, these two things can't be compared. But the fact that you chose to invoke Israel and Gaza conflict in the question time, which was primarily about the local body elections and your party's performance, shows just what a sick character you are, Rishi Sunak.
We've had George Galloway going around saying he's going to wipe Labour out of Rochdale.
And he's the Workers' Party of Britain
And
MP
he is the
in
person
Rochdale.
who spins the most extraordinary things against Labour.
Okay, so there are two developments that took place this week that you must know. I'm sure you must have come across those developments, but those incidents may not have registered your mind because unless you have the political nuance or you are observing those incidents with extreme keenness, chances are that you wouldn't notice the hidden agenda behind it. So the first of all, this Labour leader Emily Thornberry, we did a video, you can see that here, up here. She had appeared on a BBC program called Politics Live, and of course, she was reminded about her disgusting stand on genocide in the past, and how she has had a change of heart, albeit reluctantly. But then in the same program, she also talked about the rise of Workers' Party under George Galloway, particularly in Rochdale and in the surrounding areas. That was the day in the immediate aftermath of the local body elections, which indicated that Labour was losing grounds in areas which had significant Muslim population or Muslim voters, including Birmingham and Rochdale and Manchester and Leeds and those areas. So she was asked about whether Labour was concerned about eroding support base amongst Britain's Muslim population, to which she conceded that yes, it was a matter of concern, but what came out as a clear indication that Keir Starmer and the top Labour leadership is extremely scared by the rise of George Galloway and the acceptance that his policy is receiving up and down the country, particularly amongst those who historically voted Labour.
Just how damaging is that, Emily?
Look, we don't want to lose people. We don't want to lose support. Obviously, we don't, and we fight for it.
But how are you going to win them back?
I think that in Oldham, Oldham has been slipping away from us for some time, actually, and that is, that's a worry. I think that in Rochdale, we've had George Galloway going around saying he's going to wipe Labour out of Rochdale.
And he's the Workers' Party of Britain
and
MP
he is the
in
person
Rochdale.
who spins the most extraordinary things against Labour, and we need to counter it.
So you can see that although she's using the word that George Galloway spins the most extraordinary things against Labour, and they need to counter it. Well, let's leave it to voters to decide whether what George Galloway is saying is a spin or indeed, he is exposing the true face of the current Labour leadership. I mean, you can't deny the disgusting stand taken by the Labour Party on the issue of Palestine. Look, I've said it in the past and I'm saying it now. I have nothing to do with Palestine. I have an Indian origin. I was born in India. I have never been to Palestine. But the question is not about the geographical location. The question is about humanity. That here is a brutal regime supported by the US and the UK and the EU and Canada and Australia in the past, called Israel, massacring more than 100,000 people. So we need to raise our voice against that. It's as simple as that. Anybody who has any sense of morality should oppose this. Now, when a country where I live in or you live in is providing arms and ammunitions to Israeli regime to kill more people in Palestine, I think that should be a matter of concern. Hence, my continuous opposition, continuous outrage against this move. It's as simple as that. Now, the problem with the current Labour Party is that it hasn't raised its voice, or it hasn't registered its outrage the way it should have. In fact, right in the immediate aftermath of 7th of October attacks, it was actually greenlighting Israeli genocide. You remember this famous video.
And I have to start with events that we're seeing in the Israel-Hamas conflict.
Absolutely.
Overnight, Leo Varadkar, who for my listeners is effectively the Irish Prime Minister, has said that Israel have to be careful because if they're not proportionate, they will risk losing global support. So, Keir Starmer, what is a proportionate response in your view?
I think the first thing I have to say is responsibility lies with Hamas. This is cold-blooded murder of men, women, even children. It is terrorism, and Israel has the right to defend herself. And there are ongoing situations with hostages, and Israel has the right to do everything that it can to get those hostages back safe and sound. And therefore, I'm very clear, Israel does have that right to defend herself, and Hamas bears responsibility.
A siege is appropriate? Cutting off power, cutting off water?
Well, I think that Israel does have that right. It is an ongoing situation.
And that's exactly the same line that was repeated by Emily Thornberry, who, God forbid, if she wins, she will become this country's top lawyer, top legal mind. That's why I say God save this country. So clearly, her statement on that program shows that the top leadership of the Labour Party is extremely frightened by the rise of George Galloway. And I think they have a reason to worry, because George Galloway is now going to spread his wings outside Rochdale whenever the general elections are held. We have seen the indication in Birmingham. Ahmad Yaqub, who fought on pro-Gaza stand, received 69,000 votes. 69,000 votes. When you have multiple Labour MPs of Asian origin from Birmingham, including Shabana Mahmood, who is a fierce supporter of Keir Starmer. Now, Ahmad Yaqub has indicated that his next target is to fight the general elections from Ladywood against Shabana Mahmood. Now, that should be a matter of concern, because the amount of vote that Ahmad Yaqub has received is quite a lot. It's enough to dislodge any member, any MP, regardless of the the majority that MP may have. So clearly the Labour Party is very, very frightened, and they should be, because George Galloway has indicated that his target is to make sure that the top leadership of the Labour Party is defeated. And if they are already aiming at Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, Rachel Reeves, these are the people who took disgusting stand, and they have not apologized. And David Lammy, not to forget. And they have never apologized. They may be supporting the ceasefire now, but it's too late. But even then, they have not apologized for their disgusting stand in the past. So that's number one, that Labour Party is frightened right now. Doesn't know what to do, how to deal with the phenomenal rise of George Galloway and acceptance to his ideology, anti-Labour ideology, up and down the country. The number two, which happened yesterday, we saw in the PMQ that Keir Starmer was embarrassing Rishi Sunak about the Conservative Party's defeat in the local body elections recently. Now, everything was fine until Rishi Sunak decides to take shelter behind Hamas. We are talking about local body elections. We are talking about, the election of Sadiq Khan for the third term. But the guy finds it absolutely suitable to link the development to what is happening in the Middle East, even though his own action has been despicable. He has been complicit in genocide. And yet he has the audacity to take shelter behind Hamas, saying that what Sadiq Khan has said reportedly, by comparing the atrocities of Israelis to what happened on 7th of October, he said this was unacceptable. You can't compare these two events.
He's finally found something in common with the British public. No matter where he calls home, all his neighbours are backing this changed Labour Party. And they keep rejecting him because they have sussed him out. They know there's nothing behind the boasts, the gimmicks, the smug smile. He's a dodgy salesman, desperate to sell them a dud. Now, Mr. Speaker, 16 days ago, when he held a press conference claiming victory on Rwanda, he said the next few weeks will be about action. People want deeds, not words. So let's test that. How many small boat crossings have there been since he said that 16 days ago?
Mr. Speaker, actually, just before we go on to that, he talked about a changed. He talked about a changed Labour Party. That's important because he talked about a changed Labour Party. He talks about it a lot. But just this morning, and he also talked about his new mayor in London. So just this morning, we've learned that the Labour mayor in London believes, and I quote, that there is an equivalence between the brutal terrorist attack of Hamas and Israel defending itself. And let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no equivalence between a terrorist group and a democratic state. So can I ask him now, will he take this opportunity to demonstrate that that Labour Party has changed? And will he condemn those comments from the Labour mayor?
Although I do think that Sunak is right, that you can't compare these two events. What happened on October 7th cannot be compared with what is happening now, because October the 7th left about 1,200 people dead. Death of any human being should be mourned. It can't be condoned. But then here we are talking about the brutal murder of over 100,000 people. So how can these two be compared? So clearly, of course, these two things can't be compared. But the fact that you chose to invoke Israel and Gaza conflict in the question time, which was primarily about the local body elections and your party's performance, shows just what a sick character you are, Rishi Sunak. And this is even more disgusting for me because you have the Indian ancestry, which I have. Usually, the elevation of people like Rishi Sunak to the post of Prime Minister in the United Kingdom should be a matter of pride for any person of colour, because that gives you hope that if you have talent and if you are capable, then you can rise to the top. But unfortunately, in his case, he didn't come here, by using his talent. He came through the back door. He wasn't elected by the people. And then, despite not being an elected prime minister, he has been routinely indulging in despicable policy decisions. That's why it's a matter of shame, particularly for me, who shares the same lineage as this guy has. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.